Hello and welcome. I'm Anton Mastriani and I'm here with Shara Rosalin. How are you?
I'm fine, sweetheart. Thank you so much. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Yeah, it's quite dark in your place. What's wrong with you? You don't pay electric bill like Satan?
No, I thought I'd set the mood for the video.
Just kidding. Dear God. Yeah, gosh.
So, with the first sort of subject I wanted to speak upon, it would be the question of what is a high dimension and how does someone who's new to this access those higher dimensions?
Well, for me, well, maybe for others, it's just like a different perspective, how they view about higher dimension. But for me, based on my experience with the things of the higher dimension, is more about like we we human on earth, of course we have a lot of restriction. We cannot fly freely like a jane. We cannot swim as deep as possible like what's the name of the creature? I forgot. Leviathan, Godzilla, maybe.
Yeah,
But
Tiamat. Maybe?
yes, Tiamat, thank you so much for that.
That's right.
Yeah, but the higher dimension it's not it is wrong for me to say that they have no restriction. It's just less restriction. They can do as much as they want because how to say their abilities way way stronger and more broader. It's just like they can go from here. They can go to another planet. They can go to another dimension. They can go to another realm. As easy as this. But we as humans, what do you think? What do you think? How the human need to do?
I
Of
think it's
course,
about the
it's a
main way to
complication.
access the higher dimension is to be able to perceive it and be aware of it. And we would have to
Complication.
not only evolve our
Complication.
perception and adapt it, but sort of be able to lock onto the energy of that dimension by being on a different frequency almost.
Exactly. It's just like the higher of our frequency, the higher of vibration in in here, in I mean within us, the easier for us to access easily to the higher dimension. And for some people also, including the priest and Vega Vegaloskimos, like the Bulgarian called the priest. The priest, yeah, I guess the priest, I guess, am I remember correct? They can they can communicate with the God, with the deities, with the higher dimensional beings, including the special thing is with the Akashic record. You know it, right?
Yeah, yes. In order to be able to access the Akashic record, you have to be able to perceive a certain level of reality, so to speak. And to be able to access it, you have to have worked with at least a deeper level of the infernal or somewhat a level of the light. For me, mostly angels are the ones who bring me Akashic record information.
Oh, so right now you're just working with the angels and the demons, right?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm mainly just working with few of the demons. Only three of the angels at the moment. That is Raziel, Michiel, and
Yeah.
Raphael.
I see. Well, for me, I do not know whether I should mention about this. It's better for me to be general that I work with. The more I work with the Belial and Lucifer, the more it's just like it is extraordinary. The deeper the deeper of the darkness, the brighter of the light is becoming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely.
It's just for example, the more despair, the more they put, the more and the harder the test they give to you, to us as a test, how much we can preserve, how much we can remove the obstacles, the the brighter of the light, which is symbolized of self-love, self-care, hope, faith, belief, to see right in front of us. Sometimes high, sometimes the high dimension just waiting in front of there. Don't get me wrong. People sometimes just mistaken about working with the darkness, which means we must drink blood, we must become Amazon, eat the flesh of the human. But so many people that doesn't know that. What is there? I do not know. Should I mention about this or not? Should I?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, mention it.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Because there is so many people doesn't know about it. Because really, the person who knows about Mother Sophia or Aeon Sophia, the mother of the god, the mother of Yaldabaoth, you know that? You know that? You know that
It,
story?
yeah, it's not very common information, the lineage of many of the demonic kings spreading back towards the light, more per se. It's not very well known.
It's not very well known less because of something of negative like like negative Christian stereotype. It's just more about them. They're limiting themselves. They they just like oh, if I work with darkness, if I work with infernal infernal empire, which means just work with them. Just look like as worse as like them. I don't think it's worse. As dark as like a demon.
Mm.
But no one knows. Belial and the other demons also in case by case they can bring us to to the higher dimensional beings such as Michael, Raphael, and for my case, Mother Sophia and two other lighter beings that I told you before this,
Yes, yes, the much more ancient ones.
much much ancient ones. But did you ever wonder why so many people? It's just like when they make the book, they're just like a copying like the Christian words such as Sabbath or Christ or the fall. Because what I see, what I see with Belial and Lucifer, it's not that they chase away because of the fall. They just like go away. No, it's more
Mm.
about like a misunderstanding of for example, we in the home, it's just like a have dispute, misunderstanding with another family. What do you think you're gonna do? Do you gonna stay there or get out
Yeah, you're gonna move out. Yeah.
and make and their own territory and their own kingdom? Of course, because there are Belial and Lucifer and another demons. It's not the lesser being. Don't get don't get me wrong. There are actually higher dimension of being. It's just they have their own role in the darkness. So they bring the people who work with the darkness to the light. What is the meaning of the light? Without the light, what is the meaning of the darkness? That's it.
Well,
That's
with the light and darkness, this brings me back to something that Lucifer used to tell me quite often. From the darkness comes light, and the light accentuates the depth and shadow of things and brings more. How do I say this? Depth to it. It represents the subconscious as well, and the light also represents the consciousness in a way.
exactly so. But so many people think that light is just about healing, about gentle, about love, about uh, about something sweet that we know. But instead, light also can be painful, can be punishing, can be such a destruct, can carry such a full destruction as much as darkness. But the darkness can be much more merciful than light.
Hmm.
Do you know about the song of Dies Irae? The meaning behind it?
No, I haven't heard that song before, actually.
It's about the punishment of the light that's descend from the heaven upon earth. Let let the evil to be revealed. Let the evil to be punished with the power of the light.
Okay.
And the punishment of the light is not something very sweet that so many people can, how to say, participate. It can be such as blindfold. We doesn't know what's wrong. Something like that.
I get exactly what you mean. It's like the old saying, when you look into the light for too long, you can go blind. And when you delve into the darkness only for too long, you can become lost and lose your way. In order for a practitioner, not all, but some, to reach their fullest potential in the path, they have to utilize both the left hand and the right hand.
Yes.
To integrate and balance themselves. It's like only using one hand all your life when you've got one right behind your back.
And it's just like a dancing. How can we dance with just one hand like this?
Yeah.
Don't you think it is where's the balance? Where's the
Exactly.
balance? It's just
Yeah, there's no balance.
one. Where's the balance?
Yeah.
It's just like a oh. Of course, in order to achieve the most beautiful dance, of course, which means the balance of the light and the darkness, light and the darkness,
Yes.
heal and destruction, heal and destruction, heal and destruction.
It's a lot like yin and yang in a way.
Exactly.
Because yin and yang, a lot of people have the misconception it's both of them just perfectly balanced, but it's actually the swirling and becoming of one from the light and dark, the yin and the yang, becoming something new that is born from both.
Yeah. So many because you also already knows that so many people says that the void and darkness is the most powerful, is the only one. But sometimes is it? I question them. Is it? Is it true? Because light and darkness is no such thing as as those two things is separate, because those two things actually, what does that mean?
They're connected. They're intertwined.
Yeah,
No.
it's actually one.
100%. I agree with that.
There is
also
no separation at all between light and darkness. What is darkness without light?
exactly, and
What is light
vice
without
versa,
darkness?
exactly. What is light without darkness as well, to give it depth.
Exactly. Exactly.
It also goes into the Samahiel mindset, for he can initiate both people into Sephirothic and Cliffothic path workings. He utilizes both sides of the tree.
As I also know that he also the archangel. He, he is the archangel Samahiel. You know his title, right? Archangel, not just belongs to the cliff of
Exactly, 100%. He can access both.
both. So I remember about the one person, not really one person. Some some person says that why I can just connect to the light, just connect to the light if I work with Belial and Lucifer. And one more person also, why I work with Belial and Lucifer is if I love God so much, if I love light so much, it's just like a, should I should I explain to you?
Yeah, you
Should
should.
I explain to you? It's just the same thing. There's no such thing of separation between those two. They just way too, how to say, to restrict themselves like this, just hold one place. Why must hold like this? It can be nothing at all.
Mm,
We should be nothing at all.
exactly, and that goes into a lesson Abaddon taught me. When one is nothing, they have unlimited potential to be everything at once. For when you are nothing, nothing is holding you back from being everything at once and exploring your unlimited potential and depths of your own power.
See, that's why uh, in my during my past working with Belial and Lucifer, they they call me as nothing, and it's like a, okay, what is that mean? What is that mean? And and after I I do revision with Mother Sophia, finally I understand what is that mean. And after I refer with Belial, I know what it. Finally, I understand what is that mean. It's just it's, it's the same like a being the worthless, being without yoke. You
Mm.
know about the Belial, right?
Yes,
Being
yes,
worthless.
100%. Yes, the worthless one of Belial's aspects. I know exactly what you're speaking about. Yes.
It's just like the worthless. So many people with ego attachment is just like a, it's really, it's truly ruin the ego, it's ruin the self-esteem. But if if the person don't have ego attachment at all, just being nothing, they will then they will understand what is the meaning of worthless without your being nothing. It is the most precious precious thing ever. It's just like a, we not just belong to the inferno. We not just belong to alien. We not just belong to the heaven. We not just belong to unicorn. It's just big nothing. It's what it all.
100%. I agree with that. That goes really far back into like primordial void energy as well at the same time. That almost chaotic nothingness, being able to go back and forth even and be in a
For
state of
versatility. For versatility.
pardon?
Just me more versatile. Well, you know about that. What is nothing? Nothing is just like a no restriction at all. We can pick. We can use all energy all in one. We can use the inferno. Can use the angelic. We can use any all kind of energy at the same time.
Exactly.
But less people can do it all in one.
Yes, it's not
Because
usually common for people
not
to be
usually.
able to work with both sides of the tree. I've noticed myself.
Yeah, see, you notice it. Even in your group, also just mostly about inferno, just more about inferno. If the people talk suddenly mixed together with the angelic and another high dimensional being, they will get, for example, for myself, become as the victim of the jealousy, become as the victim of the slander, of the bad mouth from someone, which is such ironic.
Absolutely. It almost how do I say, the energies of your light aspect would almost irritate their extreme polarity of darkness almost.
Yeah. And then and that and the thing is that that person, the wife of Satan, the wife of Satan. And what the most weird is why the Satan doesn't say anything for that? Why Lucifer doesn't say anything for that? Why Belial doesn't say anything for that?
Interesting. Indeed.
Right? Why they doesn't say anything at all? Why the wife and the bride and the so-called fan girl? Sorry,
Goodness gracious wins.
but you know what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, definitely. They create
Uh,
almost attachment to these beings that's somewhat can be unhealthy. These when they only focus on the darkness within them, it creates almost attachments from their projections of their emotions, if you know what I mean.
yeah, that's so true. And one more person also, when I talk about Belial and suddenly when I talk about my past working with Mother Sophia, they just suddenly become irritating. Suddenly, they just said that why you work with Belial if you work with Sophia, and one more person, why you work with Sophia if you still work with Belial? They're just like a be more demonic. I am human, sweetheart. I'm not demonic. I can do whatever I want. Wait until
Exactly.
I have on my head. Where?
Exactly. And where is the freedom if we cannot work with any being we want without quarrel, or at least intense quarrel? If you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. That's it. Totally correct. They just like a restrict restrict themselves only just for how to say the darkness. Just in one word to the clipotic world.
Mm, definitely.
Even Belial encouraged me to connect with the higher dimension. The more I work with Belial in with his darkest darkest state, the more he brings me to the light.
Yes, it's very interesting you say that because Lucifer has the same thing going on with me at the moment. He's been pushing me to work with angelic beings like Mickey Elmore, and he will even bring about his lighter aspects to direct me to them as well, almost.
See, that doesn't how to say restrict us. That doesn't restrict us. So why the hell all of human try to restrict and try try to tell us don't work with the light beam, don't work with the it's more about we recognize ourselves as spirit. We recognize our full potential. We recognize how powerful we are. Can we to just come in, not become restrict. You know?
Absolutely, it holds people back, almost, because whether a lot of people want to admit it or not, people have multiple aspects besides just their dark aspects, their shadow, all these other things. People have an inner light. Maybe not all souls, depending on how the soul was born and what alchemy they've gone through all their lives, but particularly those of star seeds. They have an extreme light about them, and even though they work with darker spirits, they're able to release this inner light in a very almost empathic, caring way that can help heal others and empower others as well. And that, if not utilized or addressed correctly, can really hold back the potential of one's power.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we should know. We should know the how to say. Don't restrict ourselves. Just belongs to the light and belong to the darkness. Of course, we must recognize ourselves. We not just belong to the darkness. Not at all. It's just more about the people. They deny that they another aspect. They deny another side of themselves. They deny. It's just like a do
Yeah,
like this.
yeah,
How to see clearly about the life if just see the eyes like this? Why not just like this?
exactly. And you
You know,
have more perception and awareness even when you utilize both of them.
exactly. Much more clearer, much more broader, much more how to say broader perspective. Just this is
Exactly.
the concept.
100%. I agree with that.
But yeah, sometimes people is just like a restrict themselves. Even in your group, somebody try to restrict themselves. It's totally sad things for me to try to explain to them. Some people also after they work with demons, they try to blaspheme me and try try to be like a hey God, come here, I don't afraid of you. What if the God come to them? Of course they would tremble. I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, God. I to the person who tried to challenge God, try to call them. I want to see who can do like that.
100%. And there's a big misconception on who quote unquote God is. A lot of people think that what is worshipped in church is him, and it is not. Um, as you and I both know, the spirit known as Yahweh stole that spotlight from the true creator.
The
And
true
not many
creator.
people, get to work with the creator or feel his energy. And if they do, it's only a few times. But even he has a darker aspect and a negative aspect as well as a light and positive aspect. And he is the being who holds two hands of the path. His left hand is the left hand path. His right hand is the right hand path, so to speak.
So to speak, exactly. So many people doesn't know that Yahweh, Yahweh, and and any name of the deity that we often hear in the church, it's not the real God. It's not the real how to say, the number one creator of everything and of every realm, of every dimension.
Exactly. And
No
even if
one
we
knows.
to what is it? The all is one sort of source experience and theory and discussion. If the creator created all of us and all beings, and he is a part of source and all of existence, essentially, that means we are all a part of him and with inside the creator itself. That's why we can shape our own reality with magic and sorcery itself, even perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. Even within ourselves, it's actually there is him. It's just we just need to clear our mind, clear our heart, to connect with him. No need to just, hey God, come here. Woohoo! No. So many, even you already saw that. Oh God, please come here. Like this. But the thing is, why must call call and shouting on the sky while we can connect to the God, which actually already within us.
Absolutely. As Lucifer says quite often, look within and you will find
So
me and many others. We are within as much as we are without.
do,
That's
do you
what
know?
he usually tells me, yeah.
Do you know what his means?
Um, I hope so.
Which means how to say? Okay, it's better for me to use the easiest language because this is not discussion which is only you and me. There's so many people. I'm sure that will hear it. Don't you think so? How to say? Uh, Within us, our human body, of course, have spirit and have divine spark. You know that
Mm,
have higher dimensions that connect to the higher being, to the source, to the one of all everything. So which means actually we human can connect everything. It's just need to fullest potential within us to connect. It's just like the red letter to connect and say their name. And of course can connect them easily. But I do not know whether it is same goes with another person or not, because some people they need to pray, they need to imagine, to soak themselves in the lake that full with water. Some of them need to suicide, kill themselves in order to look to find God. It's just so many ways. In one word, no matter no matter no matter in what way we connect to the God, try to connect. It starts from within. From within, the fullest potential that rests within us is connect everything. One becomes everything.
exactly. 100%. Because from within is how we perceive everything from without as well, in a way. Like, It's a bridge of almost like a portal, a walking portal almost, if that makes sense.
Exactly. We it's because we actually the can open the can open the portal. It's just the key is within us. It's already in our hand. It's just how you use it. Whether you want to smack someone's head of the guardian of that door, or we just use peacefully and unlock it, which
It is
means unlock within us, not smack the guardian of the of the door of the dimension.
well, we are the door if you think about it, and that contains the lock. 100%. And that goes back to Abaddon. Like, not only does he hold the keys to the abyss, but he holds the keys to all locks and can unlock all locks. And he can really help people who aren't sort of opened up already unlock the lock that you're describing and perceive from within and push it to without almost.
Yeah, yep, exactly. It depends. It's just in one word, it depends within us. It's not depend to the how to say what in front of us. No, it's not at all. It's just within us actually. That's why when it comes about talking about the high dimension, it's not that hard at all. If you want to connect to that high dimension, it's just still within us. How to connect to the Inferno Empire? Of course, within us. It's just it depends on what is our attention.
Exactly. 100%. That even reminds me of some sort of biblical quote. What was it? It's you can find God within the heart of every man, woman, and child. Something like that, a biblical quote like that. So that also relates back to what you're saying. Absolutely, 100%.
Exactly. It's just what he tried to. I I think that in the Bible, you know that it's just so many times mistranslated for so many times so many for so many thousands of years. I think is what the Jesus tried to say is it's already within us. No matter man, no matter women, child, it's everybody has their own potential that needs to be unlocked.
Exactly, 100%. That's also goes to what is it, the old Shiva mythology. When Shiva opens his third eye, the world is destroyed. But in reality, what is happening, all previous perception is destroyed, and therefore the person or Shiva, his reality is destroyed in the process of opening the third eye.
Yes, yes. This the reality destruction or the alteration of reality. The
Well,
more
the
we can connect.
alteration would require destroying the
Yeah,
old process to rebuild the new reality that you wish to build.
yeah. It's just like a rewrite the book,
Absolutely.
not just follow to the old format of the. It's just like for us in the school, not just always use the old format of the school curriculum. Of course, in time by time, everything needs to change. Eh, what, but how to change? Of course, from within. Change from within. So the new format, the new book can be written. So
Absolutely.
which means alteration of reality. If you know
100%.
what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean, and you couldn't be more correct on that.
It's just yeah, so many people. It's just like things super complicated, need to have bells in order to have a real alteration of reality. Is it without it? Without the bells, without the incense, cannot do anything? Can can do anything? It just depends here.
Exactly, 100%. All those things are focal points, like just to focus and build a connection. And once you've done that, you eventually won't need things like sigils, chants, incense. All you need is the person, as you describe.
Exactly. It's, so what we both can say is there is no such thing as many tools, as many methods, as many steps as possible, like a 10 times, 12 times, 30 steps. Who the fuck this is something like that? Which which teacher says like that? I want to meet him. Who? First must do this. First do that. And then do this. And then do that.
Indeed.
Even
Was it?
even with what?
Was there any more you wanted to talk about in terms of Belial and how people can work with him or what they should do with working with him?
For my case, it's for my case when it comes about Belial, I remember about my childhood. Should I tell?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. It started for my childhood when I was 5 years old. I and my home in that time was very connected to the earth and the forest and the hills. I I just like I was met him once in my childhood, but I didn't know that's actually Belial. I just how to say, you often told me that I am so connected with earth element. It's because of my life that connected with it's just one single meeting. It's just and then last year I met him again. He just came to me without I ever he just came to me in so many different ways, such as through music, through YouTube, through so many signs around me. Uh, how to say? It's just in there is two ways. Whether if want to connect with Belial, first, if you feels like he is indeed calls you by hear the name Belial, Belial in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, in your entire being, Belial. In your dream also, Belial. In your ears also, Belial. Don't try to ignore it anymore. He is indeed trying to work with you. And B, how to connect with Belial? Just call.
100%.
Just call.
Indeed. The
Just call
elemental
his name.
Belial always comes when called.
Yep, exactly. Sometimes, so, sometimes I saw so many. I hear so many people say that in order to call Belial, must prepare. We must have blood. We must have mm, one one dead cow. One must have uh such massage. Not really. Just call. Not need to be such a complicated. Well, for me, for my case, that's all. How about you?
For me, how I connect with him,
Yeah.
he usually already comes when it's time to work with him or when I want to work with him if he's interested in what I'm doing. But he always likes, and especially if I'm doing a big ritual or something or a big project involving him, he likes to have a formal summoning. Even though he's already arrived, he sees it as a sign of respect and honor because he is a king. And his presence is always strong when it shows up. The whole room and the atmosphere changes. And I have seen physical manifestations of him before, like the big shadow, and he's big, like very bulky.
Yeah, big, very big like a gorilla.
Yeah, yes,
Yes,
exactly.
very
Yes.
big like a gorilla. It's just like even his voice when he came to me last year, also voice like a gorilla.
Yeah.
Sounds like this growling deep voice. I
Yes.
just like huh?
100%.
I know that's you.
That's his primal energy and his Mars energy mixed into one.
In the darkness. It's just I just can see him totally look like a gorilla. But sorry, Valiel, I don't call you a gorilla. I just said that you look like a gorilla. I afraid he hears that. He is
Did he show up?
there is his yeah,
Oh, okay.
and he's also a weird Lucifer. I afraid that he will misunderstood that I'll call him as gorilla.
There's a couple of them here as well, including Belial and Lucifer. Belial's sort of, I can feel him to that side of the room, and Lucifer coming from this altar.
Yes, exactly. That's
Yeah.
why I said I must say apologies because I afraid that he misunderstood of how dare you call me gorilla. I don't call you a gorilla. I just said that you look like a gorilla. Because sometimes he can be such a how to say dominating God. He can be such a super mean and hurtful king ever, the most cruel king ever. But but he also can be such a humorous. He can be such a understanding. He can be thoughtful. Well, in case by case, of course. How about you?
It's the exact same with me. He does the harshness more out of a tough love vibe, like a drill sergeant would almost. But he's always very serious, and he doesn't like it when I make jokes first. A lot of people have said the same thing, but when he's in a good mood, or when he's happy or pleased with what you're doing with him or for him, he likes to make jokes, and his jokes are very humorous.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, it's just like it's just being casual, but not really casual. It just depends from time to time like that. He is my teacher, the most strict teacher ever, the most demanding king, and the, the most loving husband ever. Because me and Beriel are married already. You can see me, right?
I can see you.
We both already married. It's just if talk about this kind of topic of spirit spouse, so me it just looks like there is no such thing as the demonic king willing to marry with a human. But the thing is that kind of spirit marry with us as how to say, as a human. Don't get me wrong. They married with us as a spirit, as with our spirit. So spirit with spirit, not spirit with human. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. They look at our soul before they look at our human body, most of them, and they